Welcome to the Baltimore Breakdown Podcast, featuring your mother's favorite podcaster, Ook, with Cakes Mitchell, baby.
What is going on, guys? My name is Cakes Mitchell.
Hey, how's it going, Cakes? Nice to meet you.
Who are you?
I'm Ooker Dooker, Ooks. Some people call me Ooks. Your mother's favorite podcaster. That's another alias I go by. Nice to meet you, man.
And together we are the Baltimore Breakdown. Week 1, well, we had the Hall of Fame game, but this is week 1.
What episode is
Finally,
this?
this is, I think it's episode like 8 or 9.
Holy cow. So
Yeah, it's been like 2 months.
Yeah. Maybe, is anyone listening yet? I don't know.
I don't know. I forgot to check. I
Hello?
forgot to check the analytics, see if we had another subscriber on YouTube. I saw that. So
Oh
we're up to 33.
God. Oh my God, someone's watching. Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. We are switching things up a little bit this week. Cakes had some things he had to handle over this past week. What'd you have going on, Cakes? I don't remember what you said.
I don't want to talk about it on stream, so let's go to the first topic.
Okay.
I hate you so much.
So happy Friday, everyone. And I think next week we're going to go Tuesday since the Ravens play on Monday.
Right.
But that doesn't change our typical schedule. We'll still be going Mondays most of the time, unless the Ravens are playing on a Monday night. We'll probably do Tuesdays in that case. But just to keep everyone posted, we didn't stop. We're not dead. We're still alive. We're here. And we are still broadcasting out to the one subscriber that we have. So
I think we have more than one.
Okay.
I know we had a couple, and then we had someone comment a while ago.
Oh my
I think
gosh.
that's the only comment that we had.
Riveting.
So if anyone's listening this early, because we never really plugged this until the end, if you're watching on YouTube or whatever, or even like on podcast, leave a comment and like ask a question, and we'll be sure to answer it.
Yeah, we exist. Talk to us. We love to hear some feedback
For sure.
or questions. But yeah, so what'd you have going on during the week, Cakes?
I hate you so much. Nothing. I shot a wedding this weekend. It was cool. It was fun. What did you have going on?
Nothing much. I was on vacation. I had a vacation paid time off for work for this week, so I took a lot of pleasure in doing absolutely nothing. Don't really have the money to go travel anywhere, so just kind of handled some stuff that you typically can't get done when you have to work on weekdays 9 to 5. So I just
Little staycation.
Yeah, a little bit of a staycation. Got some of that stuff done around the house, cleaned up, things like that. Just kind of got caught up on things and then just relaxed because, I've been going 7 days a week for the most part for like give or take 3 months with a weekend or two of not doing it. So it was really nice to sit on my butt and get paid for it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's hop into, I guess, the first official Week 1 preseason game against the Rams. And the first topic that I want to talk about today, I think that everyone is expecting us to talk about, I can say everyone, with our 3 listeners, is the Joe Flacco drive and the Lamar Jackson drive and what we can take away from each of these. So I'll let you take the mic first. And what did you think about the play?
I guess we'll touch on the game as a whole. I was going to say something about the game as a whole, but we'll touch on that later, I guess. But with Flacco's drive,
Oh my God, come on, throw him a bone. He played great.
He was playing against the second team, first and foremost, of a team that, besides last year, hasn't been relevant since Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk were on them, which was about 18 years ago. I don't think there's really a lot of good you can take from that, but there wasn't really any bad either. Excuse me. Flacco was Flacco. The offense was very pedestrian, boring, kind of dull.
What?
During that drive. And then he topped it off with, king check down, touchdown pass to the fullback out of the flat. So, I was not too enthused, thrilled, or excited, but, it wasn't bad either. He did what he always does, which is check it down and dink and dunk and, rely on his...
Even with that dart to Hayden Hurst to start the drive? And then the Crabtree play?
I don't know if I would call that dart. It was a 9-yard pass.
He snuck it in there. What are you talking about?
About 9 yards.
It's like, it was a first down. It was like 12 yards. It was a dart.
12. Oh my goodness, 12-3. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah. So I mean, 12-yard pass, 9-yard pass. Whoop-de-doo. More of the same from Flacco. So yeah, I mean, nothing that I can say against him really, because I mean, he just relied on his playmakers, which is what he typically does. Dumps it off to Ray Rice, lets him run for 30 yards and do the work. Things like that. So kind of what I expected, especially going against the second string. I mean, if he would have done anything bad, that would have been a really big problem sign, but, he didn't. Lamar Jackson, again, 2 words to describe.
I can already see you smiling.
Well, I mean, he's just that kind of player. He gets everyone excited. He's our future. He's got that charismatic presence about him. 2 words to describe. Lightning rod. That's Lamar Jackson.
Lightning rod.
They should call him Lightning Lamar. That's going to be my new nickname for him, Lightning Lamar, because he's a lightning rod to the team, to the fan base, to the offense, and to the NFL, really. I mean, you can tell when he's on the field and he's running around like they're out there. The other team there's a little bit of a, wow, that's you know what I mean? That's different. That's not something we're used to seeing. I mean, you saw him throwing darts as well. Not as well because Flacco didn't really throw some darts, but
he so finally admitted Flacco was that pass to Crabtree was a good pass. You got to admit that.
Good. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was mediocre. I mean, it wasn't an interception, but so I guess in Flacco standards that's good because it wasn't an incompletion or an interception, and it was over 3 yards. So I guess if you're putting in the context of Flacco's performance, then I guess that would be considered good. But yeah, back to the real highlight, Lamar. He had some nice passes to Brashard Perriman, some really sweet throws.
No, that was RG3 to Perriman.
Brashad had Lamar had a couple to Perriman too.
Did he?
I think so.
Oh, I missed that then.
And then the ones to Chris Moore, right?
Yeah. Moore was the one that had that one that he caught over the shoulder.
Oh yeah, the deep one. That was a sweet pass. Lamar touched that thing right in there. Oh my gosh.
Also, a lot of credit to Chris Moore on that play.
Yeah, Chris Moore made a great play, but I mean, Lamar put it in the perfect spot to give him the opportunity to make that play, and that's what the quarterback can do. You can just give him the opportunity, and Lamar did that. So I was thoroughly impressed and excited with that. I could have watched that play probably 20 times on repeat and still been as awestruck as that kind of a touch throw that was. Every time watching it, really. Mm-hmm. And then that sweet touchdown run he had at the end, dude. Whoop, whoop. He was juking out those Rams defenders, man. He's something special, dude. We're witnessing it now. I mean, some people might not realize it yet, but we're looking at something special right now, and it's only going to get better, the more he develops and grows. Flacco's days are definitely numbered. His days are definitely numbered, and rightfully so at this point. We've got the new era. I've seen he's made these flashes in both games now, and unless he completely just drops off, which I don't see for game 3 and 4, and just looks terrible, things are looking really good. Really excited for the future with Lamar Jackson, Lightning Lamar. And then RG3 looked decent too. I mean, he had a couple nice throws. He had a nice throw on the run. Leading me to think that we should hold on to the 3 quarterbacks.
I don't know about all that.
No? RG3 had a couple sweet throws. That throw to Brashad was sweet. That one on the run where he rolled out to the right and hit the guy coming across the
only thing with that, though, is
couple sweet throws, man.
There's so many other positions that I think we need to hang on to an extra player, like offensive line and stuff that...
Well, hold on a minute here, because you've said yourself...
Yeah.
You've said, I don't believe so, because this guy's made of bricks. You've said yourself that Lamar could be injury prone with his style of play, right?
100% agree.
Flacco is coming off injuries, right?
Well, no. Last year he didn't get hurt. It was the year before that.
He's still kind of recovering from... They had finally said, they were saying all preseason in camp that he's finally feeling, able to move around again.
Okay.
And,
no, he's 100%. I mean, he's got his leg brace off. His back is 100% healed.
But...
So he's healthy.
Yeah, but who knows, how easy it is to fall into one of those things again. So say Flacco goes down, and to your point, Lamar is injury prone. I don't believe this to be the case, but I'm just arguing against your point here. Wouldn't it make sense to keep RG3, especially if he's looking solid like he was with couple of those throws?
Yeah, I agree with that, but I think there would be other quarterbacks on the free in the market that you'd be able to pick up.
That are going to fit our system the way that RG3 will once Lamar takes the reins and it becomes, kind of a mobile quarterback offense.
Politics aside, they could still pick up Colin Kaepernick. I mean, we've had interested in him before. And
I wish.
He's still open and available. So
I wish.
If we were in a bind where we needed a quarterback, I'm sure that Colin Kaepernick would be open and coming into Baltimore.
I wish. That would be sweet. But, yeah, I thought RG3 looked good too. And Lamar, that drive he had was sweet, man. He had bigger flashes and splash plays than Flacco going against the second team. I mean,
Lamar Jackson also, to give him credit, played more than one drive. Flacco only played the one drive.
Yeah, but Flacco is dinking and dunking the whole time. Lamar's out there threading the needle 40 yards downfield. I mean, you cannot say that's not impressive, especially for a rookie in his second NFL game.
It's not a real game, but I get what you're saying.
Okay. Anyways, that's my take on it. Flacco, Lamar, lightning Lamar. That's the sound of lightning there. That's lightning. That's
lightning.
That's for lightning Lamar. And then RG3 looked good as well. Was overall through the quarterbacks, it was a good experience.
Yeah.
I thought everyone looked. Flacco looked bad, and then everyone else looked well. Lamar looked amazing. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Flacco. I mean, granted, it's a second string, so it's hard to say anything about any of these guys confidently because it is a second string. But Flacco did what you wanted him to do.
You can see the throws that they make, though. You can't, whether it's first or second string.
But they're getting separation from these cornerbacks and safeties.
No, some of those were tight throws, man, tight windows, dropping in dimes.
That's fine.
RG3 and Lamar, even though I'm hard on RG3, to RG3's credit, he dropped a nice ball into Perriman there in the end zone.
Yeah, I did. That was very impressive to me too. I agree with you. I think Lamar made some good throws, but again, Flacco only played one drive, so they didn't really give him the opportunity to play more than one drive. And I mean, he only had a handful of passes, and he completed almost every single one.
Well, that's because he doesn't throw it further than 3 yards 9 out of 10 times. He's king check down.
But he's smart enough to know what's going to get him the most yards, and it's not always about threading the needle. If you have someone wide open, why not? If he has the fullback wide open in the flat, why would you not throw that for the touchdown?
But if you have somebody, for the fullback for the end zone play, then whatever. But I'm saying if you have a fullback wide open, but then you have the confidence and the ability to thread a ball in 40 yards downfield to give your receiver, if you have confidence in your receiver, a chance to make the catch, then you go with that.
Even with Crabtree, Flacco showed the ability he moved out of the pocket. The mobility looked fine, and then Crabtree was on that out route.
I mean, Tom Brady went down move out of the pocket.
And then, but Flacco had the back and the leg injury, so it's nice to see that he's finally mobile and able to get out confidently and then make a throw down the field and not just throw it away.
I guess. Continue.
So I think Flacco, even though played against the second string, did what he was going to do. I mean, you're not going to expect him to go in and throw for 800 yards. I mean, he did what you wanted him to do. He drove the offense down the field, scored a touchdown against the second string defense.
You know what it kind of sounds like you're saying here with your description?
What's that?
Sounds like a lot of...
He drove the offense down. It's against second string, so it might be a lot easier.
He did what he's supposed to do. I mean, he dumped the ball off.
He scored a touchdown.
He moved us down the field.
He scored a touchdown. What did you want him to do? Throw it 80 yards to
I'm just
Crabtree?
going, your description kind of entails what I'm saying, that it wasn't very exciting.
Flacco wouldn't have done... There's nothing Flacco could have done in this game for you to be impressed by him.
Sure there is.
No, there is not.
If
he
would have thrown
a dart to Hayden Hurst to open up the drive.
It was 12 yards, dude. If Flacco would have threw a deep bomb like Lamar did with the precision and touch...
But it's great to see, because Flacco loves his tight ends, and a tight end's not going to go for a 40-yard gain.
He loves his tight ends, he loves his running backs, he loves his fullback. Anyone that doesn't require him to throw over 3 yards, he loves.
Then why in practice and all the training camp, him and John Brown have had the best chemistry out of any other receiver, tight end?
They might have chemistry when there's nobody, not a real game or anything like that. But
they're
when
playing against our defense is one of the
But
best
there's
in the
no
league.
pressure on it. There's no in the practice. You don't have the pressure of performing in a real game where you're working for your money.
So you don't think one of the best players that Flacco's had in his career is Torrey Smith?
No, Torrey Smith. No.
Even though Flacco didn't complete all his passes to Torrey, he got a ton of PI calls from Torrey Smith, and Torrey Smith is one of the reasons why we won the Super Bowl that year.
All right.
So I'm saying John Brown
still
fits
don't
the
think-
mold of a Torrey Smith. We haven't had a player like that since Torrey left.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
But and talking about Lamar Jackson, I thought he did good. I still think that he's scaring me, and I'm going to call him legless Lamar because I think he's going to get his legs blown off by some defensive player at some point when he finally starts a game. Because even the touchdown run was impressive. He is opening up his body to all these defensive players, and it just takes one Luke Kuechly to blow your legs off.
Dude, he would break Luke Kuechly's arms if Luke Kuechly tried to tackle those tree trunk legs, dude.
And Lamar's not a really that big of a guy. He needs to bulk up.
He's dense. He's dense, man.
He needs to bulk up.
He's
dude.
made of brick, dude.
He's scaring me because although in this game, one of my biggest critiques in the first game was that he was trying to run all the time. This game, his eyes were downfield a lot more, was throwing darts into tight coverage. That was good to see, but he still has those inklings of wanting to show his legs off, and he's running at points and trying to run at points when he shouldn't or doesn't have to.
I don't know about
So
that.
and that's why I'm so glad he's having this year to like really work on that kind of stuff, because I want him to shake that, and I want his running to be a secondary thought rather than starting a play and like wanting to run the ball.
Lamar takes what you give him, man. He's like LeBron James. He makes the best play, no matter what it is. He analyzes it, and if the best play for that situation is to run, he runs. If it's best to pass, he passes.
I don't agree, and it's just because he's so young and he still hasn't played against a first string defense. So everything is to be reserved judgment until he's in an actual NFL game, whether it's against one of the worst defenses in football or not. I want to see him actually play a game against a first-string defense, because I think it's going to be a lot different, and I don't know a lot of these first-strings linebackers are going to let him run without taking a lick.
He'll truck right over
It's
him,
going to
dude.
take his first even a small injury for him to really check himself. Like, maybe I should not be doing this as my first option.
Dude, wait till we play the Panthers. Luke Kuechly's going to come in, going after Lamar. He's going to stiff arm him right in the mouth and keep going.
I
dude.
just hope RG3 talks to Lamar about avoiding hits, because
If anyone
Lamar is not scared to take hits, and that scares me.
Lamar is made of different stuff than RG3. I hope you at least can concede that. Lamar is
He's a human.
Lamar is
He
made.
takes a wrong lick.
Can
it's
you
a
not
wrong
concede that Lamar Jackson is a different type of player than RG3?
Lick. It's to be determined.
Oh my
You have to watch him play in an actual game.
Oh my god.
So I thought Lamar Jackson did good. He did fine. Still want to see him play against an actual first string defense before I give my overall actual opinion about him as a player.
Oh, I'm eagerly awaiting your overall appraisal.
All right, guys, let's move on to the next topic here, and this is talking about a player that's been overshadowed a little bit, and this is Brashad Perriman. He had a couple good catches in the game and tied it off with a touchdown catch that was pretty impressive. So do you think Brashad Perriman's going to do enough in the next couple of games to make the 53-man roster?
I think if he has another game like this one, then yes. At this point, I think he's kind of on the fringe. It depends on how those last two games go. I mean, he looked great this game. There was flashes, like you saw those flashes of why he was a number one pick this game. He went out and snatched that ball, got his toes in for that end zone play. He had a couple other sweet catches. He's obviously got the speed. I mean, he can flat out fly. Cut those dreadlocks. He'd probably cut it down, 0.2 on a 40 times. Did he?
Yeah, he cut them off after the first year.
Maybe I'm thinking Chris Moore's got me confused sometimes. But anywho, definitely had a sweet catch with that throw from RG3. That was highly impressive on his part. But I think just, not falling into prisoner of the moment syndrome with this game. If you look at his overall body of work, I don't think you can just take this one game and say, all right, he's back, or all right, he's arrived.
Right.
It's a flash. It's exciting to see. Gives you hope, but I don't think you should bank the roster spot off one game's worth of hope. If he can even play good and just not have those terrible drops in these next few games, I think he'll make the team. But if he has another splash game like this where he just jumps off the screen at you, I think he definitely makes it. And if he has, if he ends up going back to Brashad Perriman ways and dropping balls like that for the next few games for the preseason, I think we're going to move forward from him, and probably rightfully so, as much as it hurts to say just to cut bait with a first-round pick. But definitely impressed with, he jumped off that screen, man. Those were some good catches. Like, you think you're watching, those are some like Pro Bowl level catches that he made there. Like,
it's exciting.
Yeah, it definitely gives you a lot of hope, but I don't want to bank on that hope off of one game.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm kind of in the same boat with you. I think if he makes one more big, not even like a big game, I feel like if he has one more big play, I think he's going to make the team. Because this is his 4th year under contract, which is his last year as a rookie anyway. So, and I think right now he's probably on the bubble of about the 6th on the roster because Chris Moore has the number 4 slot.
Chris Moore looked good.
Right. So I don't think he's going to overtake Chris Moore in any stretch unless he has a couple of those games like that. But I think even if he shows a little bit more of what he showed us in this past game, I think he's going to make the roster because you like you said, you see him looking like a number 1 pick, making those catches, looking dynamic. It looks like he worked on his hands a lot, even though 2 games ago he had one drop that led to an interception. I think a lot of it's mental for him, and I think this game was huge for him to finally get a touchdown, have some big plays, have some pats on the back of his like teammates and coaches hyping him up. And I just hope going forward he can capitalize on that. I hope he sneaks into like the second team and getting in with Lamar Jackson, see if they can capitalize on anything. And I'm really excited because Perriman, someone I bought his jersey. I really believed in Perriman when he came in, and I think he did pretty well his second year coming back from the injury. He had like 500 yards, a couple of touchdown catches. I thought he looked good. His 3rd year, didn't do anything. So this year is really the make or break for him. I think that he's going to sneak onto the 53-man roster. I think he's going to do enough. And me being optimistic, I think he's going to sneak and get ahead of Chris Moore on the depth chart. Because
not if Chris Moore keeps looking like he is.
Chris Moore has been consistent. I can't take that away from him. But Perriman has the intangibles that Chris Moore just can't have. I mean, the speed and like the body type and everything.
He's the prototype build, that's for sure.
Right. I mean, he's got the build of a Julio Jones, but will never be Julio Jones. But I think he can. I think he can be half of what Julio is. He just has to get over the mental break.
So you're saying there's some hope for your investment on that jersey. It might last a year or two.
I just wanted to be able to sell the jersey and make my money back.
There's some hope on the ROI of that investment for the Perriman jersey. Didn't you also buy a Matt Elam jersey, or did you not buy a Matt Elam jersey? It was one of my old roommates that bought a Matt Elam jersey. R.I.P.
So I just really hope he makes the team, just because I just have believed in him, and through all of the downs, I just have seen the talent that he can bring, and he's shown flashes over the past couple of years. So, all right, let's move on to the next topic, guys, and that is the pass rush. Our pass rush looks really good.
Yeah.
And granted, it's against second and third string offenses, but when it's that consistent and that dynamic.
Even our second string.
Yeah.
I mean, our second string pass rush.
And our third string. You look at someone like Tim Williams, who was quiet all of last year. He had a strip sack fumble recovery.
I think it dropped off a little bit towards the when the third string came in, the performance.
Right.
All around, but I guess I'll just go on this first. But yeah, the pass rush is something that really jumped off the screen to me. Really impressive. Made me really excited because that's one thing that you see pretty consistently out of teams that end up winning the Super Bowls. I mean, you look at the New York Giants when they had their pass rush. You looked at the Broncos with their pass rush. The Seahawks with their defense. You know, the pass rush wasn't their specialty per se, but they still all around had an amazing defense. And then
even
the Eagles had a good pass rush. The game-winning play was a strip sack of Tom Brady.
Even that year that the Ravens should have gone to the Super Bowl in 2014, we had Dumervil and Suggs.
Yep.
That were in their prime.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good sign. If you can, especially with those quarterbacks, when you get to the playoffs, those quarterbacks are at the upper level. If you don't have that pass rush, they're just going to pick you apart. Even if you've got amazing coverage, if you don't have that pass rush, those quarterbacks, the Tom Brady's, the Drew Breeses, the Lamar Jacksons. They're just going to pick you apart up there.
Yeah, because they said, I forget who said it, but they said, like, when you're playing against Tom Brady, you have to blitz him.
Yeah,
and you
have to.
Because otherwise, he's just going to pick you apart.
Destroy you, absolutely. So that's really, really exciting to see. The first team pass rush looked good, again, against second teamers. I was really more so analyzing the second and third stringers, how they performed. I thought our second string D-line looked amazing. I mean, you got boys like Judon and all them guys in there.
It looks good.
They were just constantly harassing those poor Rams quarterbacks. They were just on the run for their lives for the most part, and it was really exciting to see. Now, I don't know. I hope that's not more indicative of their second string offensive line as it is to our second string defensive line. But from what I've been hearing for all these young, hungry kind of defensive pass rushing guys that we have, I think I'm trying not to be biased and be, kind of a biased Ravens fan here, but I think just from what I've been hearing from those guys in general and the kind of talent that they do have, I think that I'm going to lean towards the side that it's more about our second string pass rush. And then the third string looked good. I mean, there was a drop off, I felt like, once the second stringers came out, just in overall production. Because we were up 23-0 before the third stringers came in. But definitely a huge positive sign for us. Like I said, pass rushing is so crucial, so crucial in the NFL today. And if we get to the point where those boys grow and develop, I mean, think about that. We got 4 or 5 guys that we can rotate in and out for fresh pass rushers. And they're all young, so we could have them all on rookie deals for 2 to 3, 4 years at some point. So imagine having those guys, that kind of core together for that price for 3 or 4 years where we can build upon it in the back end and add other players
lock up
long term. And then hopefully we get rid of Flacco after this year. So we'll have the money to put everywhere else and we'll have all those young, hungry lions on the defensive line.
He's not going to let you.
It's really exciting. Who's not going to let me?
Flacco, because he's going to play out of his mind this year.
No, that's not going to happen. But yeah, super excited about the pass rush. Jumped off the screen multiple times. Really exciting.
Yeah, I think the pass rush looked great. And again, it's against second and third string offenses, so it is what it is. But it being that consistent, even over 2 games, you have people like Correa, Matt Judon, Tim Williams. You have all these players playing really well, and I don't know if all these sacks that we have will be strip sacks in actual games, because I think first-string quarterbacks will be able to protect the football for the most part. But it's exciting, and I think it's making Terrell Suggs feel a lot better for when he leaves, that someone will be able to at least sustain the mantle a little bit, because Suggs is the last OG Raven.
He's the last of the Mohicans, dude.
So it's up to Suggs to really train these guys and get them up to speed for when he does leave, either next year or the year after or whenever he leaves. But even Suggs, just keeping his legs fresh and putting him in situations where we absolutely need that dominant elite pass rusher. We can put all these other younger guys in that are going to be able to do a good to decent job, and then have Suggs ready for those clutch moments. So it's very exciting to see all these players playing so well, and players even like Tim Williams, who didn't really have that great of a year last year, showing why we drafted him, and putting Correa back from inside to outside linebacker and showing why we drafted him. It just validates all of these draft picks and makes at least me feel good as a Ravens fan that we do have a lot of talent on this team, especially in the defense.
The future looks bright for the D-line, that's for sure.
All right, so what is your biggest takeaway from this game? From anything, from offense, defense, overall, what's one thing that really jumped out at you?
The play calling.
Okay.
Because you notice when Flacco was in there, the play calling was very restricted. A lot of basic concepts, not really letting Flacco kind of go loose, and I think that's indicative of one. I mean, they know how Flacco operates. 3 yards or less for a pass. And then the way that they opened it up, when Lamar and even RG3, they gave him some opportunities to make some throws. I think that really shows the confidence level that they have in both of these guys, honestly, that they're going to give them the opportunity to sling that thing downfield and fit it into tight windows like that. I think that really says a lot about how they think about these other 2 quarterbacks, and how they know how Flacco is. So that really stood out to me. That really was something that jumped out to me, is just the fact that Flacco remains kind of in his, hunky-dory, standard dink and dunk offense, where the coordinators expanded on that for the other quarterbacks. And I think that might provide some insight into where their heads are. The coordinators and the coaches, that is. I think they kind of see what's going on here as well. And they understand that, sooner rather than later, this is going to be Lamar Jackson's team. And we have the confidence in him to allow him to make these throws down the field. And it's obviously that confidence was proven right, because he threw some sweet balls, man. He threw some sweet balls out there.
He also made some mistakes.
There were times that the line just didn't hold up.
That's why I can't wait for him to play with the first string offense. So all these excuses
so he
that
can
you're
shut
giving,
you up.
So all these excuses that you're giving about him getting
You
sacked,
will not
or
be
running
able
pocket.
to deny him.
I hope he proves me wrong, because
Do you?
I really do.
You
'cause
hope he kicks Flacco out the door and becomes the
I
starter.
hope whoever deserves to be the starting string quarterback becomes a starting string quarterback. I just believe in Flacco right now a lot more than Lamar Jackson.
So are you running for this state, or are you going to compete in another state with that answer?
It's true, because I like Flacco because I think that he is a very good quarterback. He just hasn't had the talent around him. Now he has receivers, and I think he's really going to prove it this year that why he is a franchise quarterback. But if Lamar Jackson shows that he can be a super dynamic, next level Michael Vick type player, and
You keep saying Michael Vick. He's nothing like Michael Vick, dude.
Michael Vick compared Lamar Jackson to
That's
himself.
Michael Vick. Michael Vick also made dogs fight and kill each other.
It's
Michael
cra-
Vick does a lot of things that aren't right.
You can't not see the similarities in the way that they're mobile quarterbacks.
I think people just assume because they're black and they're quick, they always pair them together.
No, that's not true whatsoever. Because he's a scramble quarterback. He looks to run, which is something
No, he
that
doesn't.
Vic definitely
dude.
did.
No, he doesn't. Lamar does not look to run.
You're
dude.
crazy.
You're crazy. Look at the tape from game 1 and this game.
Game 1, he
when-
definitely tried to run.
No, he
Game
didn't.
2
Look
was
at
a
the
little
tape.
more reserved.
Watch the tape.
I will watch the tape,
When he
and
is-
I will show
and-
you every
and-
play in Game 1 that he tried to run.
And then I'll show you every play in game 1 where the offensive line collapsed, which you agreed about, said they were horrendous, and he was forced to run. When he has
Tom
the
Brady says it takes 2 seconds to pick a player to throw to.
Tom Brady's also the greatest quarterback of all time.
You always bring him up when I talk about Flacco, so I thought I'd do the same for
That's
you.
because they're paid the same. Lamar Jackson's on a rookie deal. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
You're acting like Lamar Jackson is this franchise quarterback already.
He is a
which he's
franchise
not.
quarterback, but he's not Tom Brady. Tom
He
Brady's the
hasn't played
GOAT.
one snap in an NFL game. How can you say someone's a franchise quarterback when you haven't even seen how they're going to perform in an actual NFL game?
Would you say Andrew Luck was a franchise quarterback before he played?
He is injured the whole time, and no one is proven anything until even Ezekiel Elliott. You don't think any of these players are going to be superstars until they actually play.
I think a franchise quarterback is someone that you're planning on building the franchise around to be the guy. That's a franchise quarterback. He's a first-round pick.
There's a lot
He's
of
slated
first-round
to be
picks
the
that
guy.
don't pan out, and
But they're still the franchise quarterback
that's
until they're not.
They're not a franchise quarterback until they're paid like a franchise quarterback.
I disagree.
You're not a franchise quarterback.
They're
until
a franchise.
You're in your 5th year.
They're a franchise quarterback. The second they become the face of the
I
franchise,
disagree with you.
the second they become the face of the franchise, and if they
Lamar
start,
Jackson is not the face of our franchise.
yes, he is, dude. Who are you?
100% not.
Who are you playing?
Terrell Suggs.
Huh?
Terrell Suggs is the face of our franchise right now.
Maybe I might give you that. Maybe Terrell Suggs.
Defense is our franchise.
Yeah. I mean, but he is about to. It won't be long before Lamar is in that role where he's the
He
the
has
one
to
at the
prove it
podium.
first.
But what I'm saying is, when you are the franchise quarterback, you're that until you disprove it. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, even Jamarcus Russell, as god-awful as he was, when the Raiders made that investment in him and paid him all that money, he is the face of the Raiders at that point.
Right.
And
Flacco
then once
is the franchise quarterback
and then-
right now. And until he disproves
Flacco's
it
not the
this
face
year,
of the. You just said Terrell
he's a
Suggs.
starting
You said
quarterback.
Terrell Suggs is the face
I
of the
say he's the
franchise.
franchise quarterback, not the franchise player. The franchise player is Terrell Suggs without a doubt, in my mind. Joe Flacco's our franchise quarterback until this year's over and he loses it because he's the starting quarterback.
I don't know that
and
I'd
the
call
coaches
him-
agree that he's the starting quarterback, so he has to disprove that
starting-
he's not until Lamar Jackson becomes that.
Starting quarterback doesn't necessarily make you the franchise quarterback. I feel like Deshaun Kaiser was the starting
If
quarterback in
Lamar
Cleveland,
Jackson
but he sure as
was
hell
as
wasn't the
good as you
franchise
said
quarterback.
he is right now, he would easily be in front of Joe Flacco and take the starting role because if they thought Lamar Jackson
They don't wanna rush
has
him.
a better chance to get us wins this year, You're contradicting yourself because you
How
said,
am I contradicting myself?
Because you said you would start Lamar Jackson week 1.
I would, but a lot of coaches don't believe in that. Aaron Rodgers didn't get started for 6 years.
So the people that are smarter about football than you would play Joe Flacco over Lamar Jackson.
Hold on, don't try and put me in that box, because aren't you and our friend the one who always say how you guys are smarter than all these former NFL players because you pick board games accurately?
We're half joking because we pick games.
I think a lot of those guys aren't as smart as we paint them out to be.
I'm not talking about the analysts. I'm talking about the coaches of the
Some of those
teams.
analysts are former coaches.
So all of these coaches, you think you're smarter at football than John Harbaugh?
Overall, no. I might be in certain situations.
And John
in a
Harbaugh
context.
is picking Joe Flacco to be the starting quarterback.
He also kind
of
has to.
Well, he doesn't have to do anything. If Lamar Jackson was as electric and dynamic as you paint him to be, if he was that dynamic and Flacco was as bad as you think, they would start Lamar Jackson week 1. Even Skip Bayless is talking about wanting to start Lamar Jackson, but Skip Bayless says a lot of dumb stuff. Legless Lamar will not touch the field until Flacco disproves that he is not the franchise quarterback.
You're so disrespectful.
You're disrespectful to our franchise quarterback, Joe Flacco.
He's not a franchise quarterback.
Then why is he starting week 1?
Deshaun Kaiser started for the Cleveland Browns last year. Week 1, was he a franchise quarterback?
The Browns had no one.
But does that make it he was the starter?
He's not the franchise quarterback until they pay him like the franchise quarterback. Until you pay him...
Just because you overpay a man doesn't make him a franchise quarterback.
You're not a franchise quarterback until you get paid like a franchise quarterback.
I disagree. You're just being so disrespectful right now.
Carson Wentz is not the franchise quarterback until he gets paid.
Yes, he is. Carson Wentz is the franchise.
Carson Wentz is not the franchise quarterback.
That is blasphemy.
Until he gets paid like
Carson Wentz was an MVP candidate.
He has to get paid like one before he could.
What are you smoking?
He could get injured this. Hear me out. He could get injured this year, right? Again, get injured this year, not play the whole year, and then say Nick Foles comes in and plays amazing, right? And
then you have a discussion, but that's a big if.
But I'm saying
until
Nick Foles
that happens,
is not the franchise quarterback until they invest their money in him.
No. Carson Wentz is the face of the Eagles franchise right now.
I'm sorry, but I disagree with you.
You're absolutely high. You should get your girlfriend to defend you in court because of the drug charges that you're going to have to be facing. Because you're going to need a public defender. And since she just passed her test or what have you, you might want to have her represent you. Because that's absolutely ridiculous. You are high to say Carson Wentz is not a franchise quarterback. That is absurd. I can't even sit here and look you in the face and you say that kind of foolishness.
The Eagles have to pay him the money before he becomes the franchise quarterback.
You're so wrong. You're so wrong. You're so wrong.
I'm sorry. Russell Wilson wasn't the franchise quarterback until they paid him the money.
I can't even do this with you right now. You have to be baiting me right now.
What about when Nick Foles? I think he played for the Eagles. Had a pretty good year. He threw 7 touchdowns that one game, ties the record. Played pretty well. Next couple years, didn't play that well. He did not become the franchise quarterback. Now he's a backup.
He also wasn't an MVP candidate.
I'm sorry, but you're not going to change my mind here.
Obviously, you're on some sort of narcotics that has your mind so diluted into the bowels of obscurity that I can't resuscitate.
Let's revert back to the original discussion, and that is Joe Flacco has every opportunity to be a franchise quarterback, which he still is until he disproves it this year.
You're wrong. So, but that's
if I was wrong, they would start Lamar Jackson and not even give Flacco a shot because they know Flacco can carry the offense to the Super Bowl.
You're wrong. But
and win it, and be the MVP.
You're wrong, but that's no surprise. You're typically wrong.
You're just crazy that someone who's been a Super Bowl MVP coming back with actual offensive weapons.
Has he ever been an MVP candidate in the regular season?
No.
How many Pro Bowls has he made?
Has he won the Super Bowl and been the MVP of that?
Nick Foles.
11 touchdowns.
Nick Foles just won a Super Bowl.
But he didn't carry that team to the Super Bowl. Carson Wentz did a lot of the legwork.
Nick Foles had a pretty good playoff run last I saw.
Carson Wentz did so much legwork to get them to the playoffs.
Who's to say the way Nick Foles played in the playoffs against the best teams in the league? We don't know.
We don't know.
Sure, we don't. But Nick Foles is not a franchise quarterback, and he just won the Super Bowl. So neither is Joe Flacco. Just because you won a Super Bowl doesn't make you a franchise quarterback. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. He's not a franchise quarterback.
But he wasn't paid like one.
I don't care if you were. Just because you overpay a man does not merit some sort of
I'm
title.
saying no one's a franchise quarterback until you pay him, and Trent Dilfer
You're
was
wrong.
not paid like one.
You're wrong. You're so wrong. Anyways, I'm done having this discussion. I cannot bring you back from the depths of depravity that you've sank into.
All right. So anyway, your biggest takeaway was playmaking. Mine is kind of similar, and it's defensive playmaking with our new defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale, and how more aggressive it is than Dean Pease. And that's very exciting to me because we can finally get these pass rushing people like a Tim Williams, like Kamai Correa, to really show what they can do. And where Dean Pease was a lot more reserved in his play calling, I'm a lot more excited to see what Wink brings aggressive. So when we're 4th and 12, we're not sitting in cover 4 and someone throws a 52-yard touchdown on us. So that's what the biggest thing that jumped out to me was, like, our pass rush, but overall was just like the aggressiveness of the defense, even when we had a big lead. So, all right, let's wrap this up. Do you want to talk about Nick Foles' injury or not? Touch on it real quick.
I don't think I want to talk to you anymore today.
Especially about Nick Foles. I'll talk about it real quick. Nick Foles' injury.
Let me just plug my ears real quick.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Go ahead. So Nick Foles had a shoulder injury, I believe. So the biggest thing I think what Ukadur wanted to talk about here was with Carson Wentz coming off of his injury. If there's that 2-week gap where neither of them can play, and how big that would be to their team, I think that would really suck, because Nick Foles showed that he can be a good quarterback, and obviously can win the Super Bowl and be a Super Bowl MVP. So I think that would be definitely hurtful to the team.
Excellent deduction.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much. This is the Baltimore Breakdown. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, if you guys are listening on the podcast, be sure and do us a favor and rate us 5 stars. That would help us out a great deal to try to climb up the charts a little bit, get some more listeners, get a bigger community here. And if you're on YouTube, definitely hit the like button. We'd appreciate that. And leave any questions that you have, and we'll definitely answer those and create a segment where we answer your questions.
And leave some comments telling this lunatic how depraved and insane he is for the blasphemy that he spewed out of his mouth, really on a weekly basis, but in particular today. Let him know how far gone he truly is, because I don't know if I can do it on my own.
All right, thank you guys so much. My name is Cakes Mitchell. That's where you say your name.
What?
That's where you say your name.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
All right, thank y'all so much. This is the Baltimore Breakdown. We're out.